What's happening, folks? In today's video, I'm talking about gas. It's going to be a weird start to that video. Most people, if you're a photographer, you probably already know what gas means. It's gear acquisition syndrome. And most of us, if not all of us, suffer from it at some point. And I'm no different. I have a whole bunch of Canon gear that I use for weddings, and I acquired that over time. And then I moved on to Fuji because it was smaller and lighter and I could use it every day. Then I wanted to use Fuji for all weddings as well. So I had this whole plan on switching the gear. And so I've got an X-T2 right here, and I was gonna get an X Pro 3 or an X Pro 2 and all the lenses for Fuji and shoot weddings with that. And that has been the plan for over a year now. I think over a year, roughly a year. The thing is, after buying an X100V, I've kind of fallen in love with this rangefinder feeling, which I could get from the X Pro 2. However, I've also fallen in love with the touchscreen area autofocus thing. So I can hold the camera up and I can select the autofocus area point by moving my thumb around on the screen here, and it's the fastest way that I've ever moved an autofocus point in any camera that I've used, and I can't do that with my Canons. So I don't want to get an X Pro 3 and have to flip the screen down and hold down here the whole time that I'm shooting with another screen, because I'm going to break that. So I think I'm going to wait until something like an X Pro 4 comes along, and maybe then I'll get it. And 2020 being the year it's been, I can't really afford to buy more gear anyways. And so therefore, I think I'm going to get rid of all my Fuji stuff for a while and just try and make money with Canon stuff and continue my YouTube street photography, which I'm pretty much exclusively shooting at 35mm just now. 23mm, I guess. And if I do travel stuff, at this point, I'm only going to take this instead of the other stuff. And all that other Fuji gear has not been doing much since February. Well, I guess not since February, since I bought this. So there, I feel a little bit guilty. And the problem here is that for the last year and a half, 2 years, I've been saying how this camera is everything that you'll ever really need. And it is. And all you really need is one lens, 35mm prime, 23mm prime, even 18 to 55 if you're not sure if you're into prime lenses yet. I've said all of these lenses that I've got are excellent, and I stand by all of it, and I'm probably going to miss having all of them. 56mm, wonderful portrait lens, and actually really good for nighttime street photography, or just street photography if you like that longer compressed kind of feeling. And even the 55 to 200, which I didn't use a lot, but it's a really good sharp lens, and I loved to take it hiking so I could get like really good landscape, like telephoto landscape shots. But it sits around on my shelves until I go hiking in the mountains to shoot landscape. And the way that I have currently been shooting, I don't really show a lot of landscape stuff, and I don't really need to shoot it. I don't feel the need to shoot it. If I'm going hiking, I could just not take my 35mm, wherever it is, X100, and it will be fine. I'll be able to take nice enough pictures with it. The point of me going hiking is just to enjoy time hiking with my wife and the dog and not paying attention to photos as much. So I'm limiting myself with the gear that I have the options to use, and then I will actually use more of the gear that I actually have instead of just having it sitting around. This is kind of the point. If you are not into the rangefinder style, if you're not into street photography, manual focus, big apertures, all that sort of stuff, X100 probably isn't really for you anyways, and an X-T2 will absolutely be good enough, more than good enough, to do everything you want. If you're not into the silent shutter, which I like on the X100V, kit lens at 18mm, it's great for street photography. And you know, I can't really say that the X100 is a better camera because the image quality is fantastic coming out of the X-T2. It's just what I like. I like the X100V, and it's as simple as that. Now, the other reason that I'm selling all these things, I'm also going to get rid of this Canon EOS Elan 7, which is a nice cheap film camera. It's just boring as hell to use. I've got in my mind that a step better than the X100V would be a Leica M240 or something more on the affordable side, not an M10, because that's way too much for me just now. So selling this will get me a little bit of the way towards renting a Leica or buying a used Leica or something to try out for a while and review. And also having less stuff on the shelf will also, you know, free up some space for me to justify getting some other gear to review and try out over time. So for anybody that's bought any of the Fuji lenses that I've been recommending, don't take this as a sign that that I'm selling it because I don't like it, because I love all of these lenses. They're all freaking excellent. I just haven't been using them enough and don't think I can justify keeping them anymore because I'm focusing more on street photography. And I like 35mm. So that is why I am letting go of this G.A.S that I've got here, and I'm keeping hold of the full Canon kit that I have for now until this whole thing picks up, where it becomes a bit more financially feasible for me to just drop the cash for all of the Fuji stuff that I want and need to shoot weddings, and then trade all of the Canon stuff. So if I am then able to beg, borrow or steal a Leica M240, I will put it up against the X100V for a while, see which one I prefer. I'm sure there will be upsides and downsides to either of them, and in fact I think just having this as like a travel snap camera and family camera will be easier because it has autofocus if you want it. But the thing that lets me down the most with this camera is the focus by wire. I'm not a huge fan, and I find it a little awkward to use. But shooting at f8, most of the time everything's in focus anyways, but still when I want to get something close it's difficult because I need to check the screen or focus or whatever. I would like to have that manual focus tab thing so I know exactly where my focus is when I'm just moving my finger without looking at the screen. Alright, so this segment of the video is a couple of weeks later. I have traded in all of the camera gear except from 2 pieces that the shop didn't want, so I need to like do that online somewhere. When I was in there, there was an EOS R6 and a 2470 sitting out on the table. You know, I asked about it because I was like, the lens looks enormous, and he handed me it, and it was actually very light. I said, you know, I'm not buying the R5. It's too expensive. It's ridiculous. And you know, the R6, I was like, it only has 1 card slot. As I'm opening the card slot, no, it has 2 card slots, 2 SD cards, which is fine. So the R6 is relatively affordable for a wedding photography camera. It has 2 card slots, it has a flip out screen for video, and it's 20 megapixels. And that is plenty. I would rather have 20 megapixels than 30 in the 5D Mark IV. So that's sort of warmed me up a little bit towards keeping the lenses that I've got for Canon just now and getting the mirrorless R6, because it will be able to be my YouTube video for this type of thing, as well as my work camera. Then maybe I won't end up with a Fuji kit. But maybe I will, because I prefer the smaller, lighter kit. So that remains to be seen. But at least going forward for now, I'm thinking to have like a camera that I don't like. I have to plug my 5D Mark IV into my laptop with like a cable thing and then run a program so that I can see myself on the laptop. And I refuse to buy more things like those screens and like camera rig things and all that stuff if I'm not like doing this as a profession or paying the bills with it. I'm not buying extra kit for that. I'd rather just have one camera that I stick on the tripod, flip the screen out, hit record, and I can make a video. I'm probably not going to be shooting any stuff really on YouTube with an X Pro 4 I'm going to use the X100 most of the time, or a Leica if I buy a Leica and like it more than the X100, which could go either way. The point of me coming in at the end of here was actually to just say I'm going to put in a slideshow of photos that I've taken with the X-T2 and the kit lens, the 35, the 56 and the 55 to 200, just to sort of show a lot of my favourite images, like stuff that I've made that I like with it. It just doesn't fit into the current way that I'm shooting and how I think I'm going to shoot going forward. But it's great. So thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Drop me a comment down below. And here is a slideshow of images that I think are good that I took with the gear that I sadly just traded in. Cheers. Also aware that I said I was going to do a live stream and I have not. I've not arranged that yet. I will get there. I will get there. Not sure how many people will have the time to come onto a live stream. I'm only at 5k. I see people with like 100,000 followers with 100 people on their live streams, so there might be like 3 of us, but that's fine.